Bhagavad Gita is the most misinterpreted book. You might be wondering why I'm throwing such a exaggerated claim. As we move forward in this video, you will understand why. So, this is the first video of this spectacular series where we are going to understand Bhagavad Gita from scratch. You may have never ever read it. You may have never ever turned even a single page of it, but still, this video or this series is gonna be for you. You will be able to understand each and everything that is inside of it in a very, very unique and useful perspective. So let's start with a question. Who are you? Now that sounds like a tricky question because you can say anything to the answer to that question and I can simply counter you. For example, if you say you are the body, now I can claim if you are the body and body changes every 10 years, scientists claims like that. At the same time, when you were born, your body was this small, your body grew this large and you must be remembering your childhood, your body changed but your memory doesn't. So then how you can be your body? If you say I'm memory, then it is your memory, so you must be something, then your memory is there, right? If you say you are your thoughts, I can simply claim that no, your thoughts, that means you are something who is thinking. You are something who is thinking. So who are you, that particular thing? So who I am or who are you is a tricky question. You can't define it by a name, you can't define it by a body, you can't define it by a subject, a pronoun or anything. So, how we'll proceed? It's a simple way to proceed. We'll give a proxy. First of all, what we will do, we will eliminate all the stuff that we can think of. And once we eliminate all the stuff that we can think of, then whatever left, if you can say your thinking capacity, you cannot say it by the way. Why? Because whatever you can think, we already left it off. So, whatever the remaining is, we will call it as consciousness for just the sake of understanding. Now, when you talk about consciousness, there are different levels of consciousness. Or when I say level, I mean that there is a spectrum of consciousness. For example, there could be a person who is at the very end of the spectrum. There could be a person who is at the utmost top of the spectrum. It is not a 1, 2, 3, 4 like levels. It is like a spectrum. You could be at any range of it, right? From now on, in this series, we'll consider consciousness lies on a spectrum. Now, how we can define that spectrum, because we need a reference point. So, in Hinduism, particularly in Sanatana Dharma, we did this comparison with nature. Like we consider animals as the lowest part of the spectrum of consciousness. Why? Because they are dictated by their body. Now this is very important. If a person is dictated by its body only and only, then that person comes to be at the very low, very bottom of the spectrum. So we can see any animal, they are dictated by their body. If they are hungry, they will eat. If they are horny, they will have sex. If they feel threatening, they will run. So whatever body demands, they will follow that. They comes out at the very low of the spectrum, from which identity we can denote the very high of the spectrum. Now this is a question. So in this book, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is not a person, is not a human, is not a god. Who is he? He is just the representation of the highest possibility of your consciousness. That means Krishna is representing the very top of the spectrum. Now this is simply amazing. Now we will choose animals at the very low of the spectrum. We will choose Krishna as the very top of the spectrum. So in this whole book, when we are going to study one by one shlokas, you will consider Krishna not as a god, but as a representation to your highest possible consciousness. Now, this is a very important concept that you need to learn before we dive into Bhagavad Gita, because if you don't understand this, you are going to misdirect it in a way that Mahabharata is happening or it must have happened, and you would be trapped into the most irrelatable debate on Bhagavad Gita. So, I believe this is it for the first video. We are going to meet soon in the next video, and we are going to dive into Bhagavad Gita from scratch. So if you like it, if you find this piece of content very valuable, share it with your friends. See you in the next video. Till the time, bye bye.